I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who's made this service possible today. Kevin and Marilyn for your Zoom work, Bob McAvoy for recording us, for our announcement person, Sue Barton, for our slide man, David Morrison, for the help of Harry Ollendorf, getting those slides together, and for our beautiful chaplain, Julie Curry. Thank you all for serving in our service today. Isn't that what we've been doing for the last year and a half? Walking on through the storm with hope in our heart, with hope in our heart, with hope for the future. And we never had to walk alone. The Christ in us is always with us. God is there. God, the Christ, we are one. God is always with us. We have hope in our hearts. And we have the faith, the conviction to bring it into reality, to stay hopeful in the midst of a pandemic, to stay hopeful in the midst of an insurrection, to stay hopeful in the midst of everything closed down, to stay hopeful in the midst of people dying everywhere, to stay hopeful in the question of whether or not we might not have a democracy, to stay hopeful, to walk on through the storm with hope in our heart. And so this Christmas season, we begin moving through Advent. We begin a renewal. We begin a time when we're born again, when we stop and we get in touch with that Christ within more than we've been in touch with before. And we look at our consciousness and we look at right thinking and we look at error thought and we use our 12 powers, the 12 gifts from God that are within the Christ within, our Christ consciousness, to move us into right thinking every moment, every day. And when we're not there, we forgive ourselves, we forgive that error thought, we use our 12 powers, and we move through letting go of error thought and moving into right thinking. We've got a lot of fun things coming up for the holidays. I just want to talk about them a little bit. Next week, Reverend Debbie Taylor's back. She was great last week. Really enjoyed her service last week. And she'll be back doing Peace. The second Sunday of Advent is Peace. And she'll be talking about no room at the inn. I have no idea what inn she's talking about. Ha ha. But no room at the inn. We've all been there. No room at the inn. Let's see what Debbie has to say. And then the week after that, the third Sunday in Advent, Love. Who else would do love but our intern, Sue Frederick? And she's talking about the adventure of love. The adventure of love. Oh boy, how exciting. The adventure of love. And then the fourth Sunday, the Sunday before Christmas, I'll be back and we'll be having a joyful time, I promise you. It will be having the joy of Advent, the joy of moving through peace and love and hope and faith and finding joy there and bringing it with us as we move through this human experience. Don't forget on the 11th, Joy Duffy has Phil Pearson coming. There's going to be several out of the area guests there. And I think Reverend Pearson is going to fill our hearts with love and joy. And I bet he even has a little Dorothy with him. How could we all go anywhere without a little Dorothy Pearson with us? And then on Christmas Eve, please join us. Bring the kids. We're going to have a lovely service. It's going to be fun. Joy Duffy has taken a story written by James Dillard Freeman, the poet laureate of Unity, called The Tale of a Pig in his Once Upon a Christmas book. And we'll be doing a reader theater. I'm not going to share the cast with you because there'll be some prizes. But the barnyard animals will be out and just what did this nativity scene look like from the animals in the barnyard's perspective? And could there be any hint of prejudice going on in the barnyard? And what did we have to learn there from all those animals that were watching this radiant night? Join us for The Tale of a Pig, music with David Trolley. It's going to be a fun night. And then on the Sunday after Christmas, we're going to take a look at the year in review. We have covered a lot of ground this year. Let me tell you, we have covered a lot of ground, and we're going to look at what we covered and some highlights from it this year so we can take it into next year. We'll review all those things but the 12 powers, because we've certainly spent a lot of time on those this year, and we're going to talk about those today as well. And then on the 2nd of January, it says the burning bowl, but I have written down the burning bowl, but it's actually the melting bowl. And I wanted to make you aware that in December, you're going to be receiving a package from Unity Center of Davis. And in it's going to be everything you need for the holidays, including your melting paper. And on January 9th, Sue Frederick and I will be doing the white stone service. And your white stone will be in that package too. So everybody's going to receive one along with a few other things. So when it comes, enjoy and remember where you put it. Don't put it someplace where you think you're going to remember. Write down where you put it, because that's easy enough to lose. So we've got the burning bowl and the white stone. And I'm not going to tell you what's coming up the rest of the year until later on, because it's time for me to talk a little bit about Christ in you, the hope and glory, the hope of glory. It's from the book of Colossians. And we've talked a lot about the New Testament this year. We talked about the book of Galatians. We've talked about the epistles that are attributed to Paul writing to those communities that were moving into the way, that were moving into early Christianity, that were taking on this Christ consciousness, that were about love, that were about hope. And so as Paul had his conversion from Saul, and he is gone from being a Pharisee and denouncing this Christian philosophy to being a fully committed disciple of Christ. And Paul writes to the Colossians, or supposedly writes to the Colossians. I'm not going to commit, no matter where you read, it's different whether they attribute the first book of Colossians to Paul actually writing it, or did somebody else writing it, and how much editing has it done. But in Colossians 1:27, Paul says to them, look, no matter what's been going on there, no matter what strife you've been going through, no matter how you've sinned, no matter what error thought you've done, Christ in you is the hope of glory. Christ in you is the hope of glory. You're not walking this human experience alone. You're not. Christ in you is the hope of glory. So let's look at that metaphysically today. From the revealing word, Charles Fillmore lays it out so well. Sometimes you just have to wrap your arms around Charles as a metaphysician, and sometimes you'd like to just push him down the street a little ways. But in this one, he's really right on about it. Christ in you. In the revealing word, Charles says that Christ in you, metaphysically, is the true light which guides every man coming into the world, is and ever has been in man. The true light which guides every man coming into the world is and ever has been in man. Even the outer man, even sense man, even the man of the human experience and not the spiritual man, was formed and came into existence through it. This is Christ in you, the hope of glory. So we're born with it. The Christ consciousness is in us, and we're born with it, and we bring it into this human experience with it. Christ in you is the hope. Well, Charles combines hope and faith, as he should. Hope is the expectation of good in the future. We had a lot of hope during this pandemic. We had to have hope for a lot of good in the future. It is a quality of sense mind because it is subject to time. So hope is a quality of sense mind, of the human experience, because hope is subject to time. We have hope for the future. We have hope for what will take place in this human experience in the future. Faith, then, is the certain knowledge that our good is ours right now. It is of God. It goes beyond time and space. Faith keeps us in this present moment. Hope is what we in this human experience have for the future. But when it comes to it, where are we right now in this present moment? We bring our faith to it. Christ in you is the hope of glory. Glory. Metaphysically, glory is the realization of divine unity, the blending and merging of man's mind with God mind. The Christ consciousness is what gives us the hope for good in the future. And through faith, we bring those things that we imagine, that substance, into reality. And so, by turning to the Christ within, we realize that when we blend the mind of man, sense mind, with the spiritual mind, with God mind, that we can walk through whatever storm comes our way, never alone. Hanukkah starts today. It goes the same period as Advent. It's also known as the Festival of Lights, and it's a Jewish festival commemorating the recovery of Jerusalem and subsequent rededication of the Second Temple at the beginning of the Maccabean revolt against the Seleucid Empire in the 2nd century BCE. Well, what does that statement mean? It means that after the temple was destroyed and the Jews got back from Babylon, and they're going through everything that we've read about in the Bible. And if you know anything about the Maccabean revolution, it went on for centuries. And the Maccabeans, they just raised hell all over the land. And the Jews bore the brunt of it. But they were able to realize that Christ consciousness again. They were able to commit themselves. They had hope for the future, and they built the Second Temple in the beginning of the 2nd century BCE. And at Hanukkah, the Jewish faith celebrates that. It's the same almost as Advent, that Christ consciousness, the temple, the place where the Christ consciousness resides, the mind, the Christ mind within our own mind. Paul Hasselbeck has a great way of talking about hope and faith and you've heard me quote the absolute word before. It's his version of the daily word with permission from the daily word. And every Sunday he does the absolute word, the metaphysical interpretation from his perspective of the daily word. And today, hope becomes conviction as I trust my power of faith. Now, Paul really sums it up well. He says, my belief in goodness begins with hope and matures into conviction. After a period of doubt, a small ember of hope can be fanned into conviction as I lean into faith, benevolence, and generosity. Each of these are aspects of my divinity. My expression of the power of faith ranges from hope to belief to conviction. As I feel hopeful, I begin to believe that new possibilities and better outcomes are available to me. My hope leads to belief that the goodness I could only sense before is the actual nature of life. I then direct my thoughts toward goodness, wholeness, and my heart's desires. I use faith to dismantle doubt and limitation. I hold the best thoughts for myself and others. Gratefully, in the depths of my soul, I know the good I desire is already mine in consciousness. Gratefully, in the depths of my soul, I know the good I desire is already mine in consciousness. You all know I like cats. I have Bessie Coleman and Miss Puma here, and I talk about them a lot. I've had cats all my adult life. Well, we have a cat that owns this end of the condominium complex I live in. Her name is Nola, N-O-L-A, Nola. She's owned by Angel and her two sons. And Nola, it looks something like Sue's cat. If you've seen pictures of Sue's cat, she's a lean, mean, sleek machine. She's spotted and she's brownish gray, and nobody messes with Nola. This is her neighborhood, this area right here, especially the green patch in between the two buildings. Nola owns it. Well, I love Nola. I've heard Nola take on the big cat that owns the block down the way. I've seen Nola climb the tree that's outside my bedroom window and staring at Bessie Coleman and Miss Puma, and all three are sitting there looking. Nola gets outside, even though I've told Angel a number of times she shouldn't let Nola outside because Nola's beautiful and might disappear. But Nola also takes charge of the parking lot. Nola's there to greet you when you come in. She knows how to manage herself around the cars. And I'll pull in and I open the door of the car to get out. And there's Nola walking around between my legs, and I reach down and pet her. About a month and a half ago, I went out into the garage to get in the car, and Nola's owner, Angel, was out there, and she said, "Have you seen Nola?" I said, "No, why?" "She hasn't come home in 5 nights. Well, now it's not unusual for Nola to stay out all night sometimes. You know how cats can be, especially when they own the neighborhood. I said, "Oh, she hasn't come home for 5 nights." "No, I'm really worried about her," Angel said. And but I'm sure, Angel says, that someone took her. I just know someone took her. Nothing's happened to her. And she'll come home. I just know she will. Hope. Angel was just filled with hope. Just filled with hope. I was filled with hope too, but I didn't put my unity principles quite into place. I'm thinking, yeah, sure, she's going to come home, Angel. You know, a coyote got her. I told you to keep her inside. I told you cats should stay inside. I wish she would have kept her inside, but Angel was hoping. And I hadn't seen Angel for quite some time, and nor had I seen Nola. And this week on Friday, I had been out to the store, and when I pulled in and opened the car door, I heard meow, meow. And there was Angel, and there was Nola. And I said, "Angel, is that Nola?" She came home. I found her. They called me. Someone had had her in their apartment for a month. Yeah, she's a beautiful cat. Who wouldn't take her? But you see, Angel had hope. She never gave up hope. Oh, I did. I gave up hope. Look at me. But she had faith that that cat was hers to have. And Nola's back home. She's running the garage. She's running the outside. And then yesterday I was out and I came home and Nola was out there and there was nobody else out there. And we had a good chat. Nola was just delighted to be out and about. She's got a little identifier on her now, so nobody can think that she's not, doesn't have a home. And there's hope there. And we have hope. And we have hope for right thinking. We have hope to move out of error thought. And we bring forward our faith. How do we, we spent this whole year talking about the 12 powers. Some of you have taken extra classes. We've had Jim Gaither here giving you his version of one of the 12 powers. We've had Paul Hasselbeck here. We've had Linda Martello-Whitson talking about the power of love. The power of power. We've really talked about the 12 powers this year. Several of us together just recently took with Linda Martello-Whitson 12 powers for healing, which was a remarkable class. What I want to bring forward right now on this first day of Advent and ask you for this Advent season is to carry the 12 powers with you. They are your Christ consciousness. You have all of the tools that you need. The Christ in you is the hope of glory, to be able to merge man's mind and God mind. We have tools. We have those tools in our Christ consciousness. And I want to review real quickly the 12 powers with you. And this time, I want to review them from the perspective put out there by Sharon Connors. Sharon Connors, several people have written a book about the 12 powers, and we haven't talked about Sharon Connors this year. Reverend Sharon Connors, oh my goodness, has done a lot and is currently the minister at Unity of Sun City in Sun City, Arizona. And she sums up, as soon as I get this open, there we go. She sums up the 12 powers this way. I'm having just a little bit of trouble, forgive me, till I grab it. Let me see, how do I get this? Well, this is the first time this has happened to me. Let me see here. Why am I doing this? All right. She sums up the 12 powers. Give me just one more second. All right. I'm embarrassed. All right. Let me see if I can get this. All right, here we go. She says that faith is the ability to believe, to intuit, and to perceive. The affirmation is, faith blesses my day and paves my way. Faith, the ability to believe, intuit, and perceive, to pull those things from our imagination and bring them into reality. Faith is located in the center of the head. It's in the center of the brain. And right here in the front of our head, we have in the middle imagination, and then we have strength and wisdom. Strength, the ability to endure, to stay the course, to persevere. I have the strength to accomplish all that is mine to do. Wisdom, wisdom is the blend of knowledge from the head and the heart. I am guided by divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action. Love. Love is the ability to attract, desire, and unify. I am a center of love. I am. Power, the power of power, located right here in the throat. Power is self-mastery and spiritual presence. I have the power to create my world. Power. And then imagination, the third eye. Imagination is the ability to conceptualize and envision a different future. I imagine good unfolding in every area of my life. Understanding. Understanding. Understanding is the ability to know, perceive, and apprehend. My understanding of truth deepens and directs my life. The power of will. Will is the ability to choose, to lead, and to decide. I choose my good based on spiritual understanding. Order. Order is the intelligence of the universe expressing through each of us. My life is balanced and in order, and all is well. Zeal. Zeal. Remember Reverend Josephine and I, zeal is that inner flame that burns brightly for all to see. Zeal is what swoops down and gets us moving. It lifts us up. It throws us into action. I enthusiastically accept my good and go forward to achieve my purpose. And then last month, we started talking about the power of release, of elimination. Release, of course, is the ability to let go. I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. There it goes, away. I release everything and anything that no longer serves my unfolding good. And the power of life. Life is my ability to energize and to animate. I am filled with life, sweet life. I am filled with life, sweet life. Each of you are filled with life, sweet life. Each of you are never walking alone. So when you're walking on through the storm, walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. I behold the Christ in each of you. Have a great day. Happy first Sunday of Advent. Peace and love and joy.